Hi everyone, my name is Ashmita from TIER. I'm here today with Jesse Lacroix from the Ontario Provincial Police, and we're going to chat a little bit about AI and deepfake technology. Hi Jesse, thank you so much for being with us today. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do at your role at the OPP?
Hi Ashmita, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having me. Technology has been pretty much my entire career. Which obviously, when we speak about technology, AI is obviously going to be a talking point. I've been with the Ontario Provincial Police since 2016. I've been a digital forensic analyst and investigator the whole time I've been there. Essentially, my role is to analyze or look into all electronic aspects of any type of crime. So, traditional hard drives, your mobile device, cloud platforms, embedded systems like my smartwatch here, anything that can hold data. It's a very fun and challenging and very active role.
Sounds like there's a lot of really interesting elements to your work, especially considering the different ways that you can use technology to kind of do investigations and so much that you can uncover from the digital sphere. I'd love to know a little bit more about deep fakes, what they are, how they work, and how they might show up in the work that you do.
So deep fakes are essentially the manipulation of media. May it be audio, video, or just just straight up a picture. It's taking that original content and modifying in a way that makes it seem like its original likeness per se. So may it be taking my face and swapping it with another face from a celebrity or someone I know. It really varies. It could be anything, or keeping the original person in the frame, modifying their voice, modifying what they're saying when they were saying something completely different. It is very well developed and extremely efficient to almost a scary point.
I'm really curious to know how it kind of contributes to the spread of misinformation or disinformation.
We've all seen popular memes online of, say, political figures like Donald Trump or Justin Trudeau or what have you, a celebrity, that are saying things that you couldn't even imagine them ever saying. Well, that's because they never said it. It was simply originating media of them during a public function or them appearing in the wild and being recorded, and then having that audio completely modified for them to say something else or sound like someone else. And this is something people keep associating deep fakes as video. It's a person, you're seeing them do something they have or say something they haven't done. But a real issue that we're going to see down the road is audio deepfakes, because of how little it takes to do it so well. Like the amount of processing power an individual that want to do this stuff needs. Very off the shelf, very accessible, very easy. And there's AI models that are very good at doing it. So I'm thinking spread of disinformation, fraud, having our seniors be affected in a way that they could not even see coming. Like we've heard about robot auto callers that are a very robotic voice, and it's clearly easy to determine whether it's fake or not. But what happens if it's someone that is posing to be your grandson, as a senior? Like if your grandchild is calling you and is, "I'm in trouble, I need help, please send money." That's gonna trick, unfortunately, a lot of people in a very convincing way. So may it be from frauding people to saying something from an official, an official figure of authority that was never said, is a problem, and we will see this.
I'd love to hear about some real life scenarios where deepfakes and AI can contribute to cyber violence of any kind.
The unfortunate reality is child sexual abuse material will be further enabled by the use of these technologies, simply because you can synthetically create something out of nothing. So one thing about deepfakes that I did not mention prior is that you can just create content. You can use source material as a reference point as like, this is what a human being looks like, generate a human being. Well, this is what a child looks like, generate generate content that is completely unacceptable, but, like in the case of, and I'll refer to it as CSAM just for short. But that's going to be used as an engine to create totally illicit and disgusting content. A second aspect to consider for CSAM is sourcing actual victim faces and, transforming it or placing it on actual pornographic content or from generated one. So we have partly generated illicit content with the face of a victim attached to it. That is making child pornography. So these technologies would unfortunately enable that. And even existing content that's already circulating on the dark parts of the internet. Taking that content and further, like continuing its development in a synthetic way. But now you're re-victimizing. As we all know, bullying is a thing, unfortunately. It doesn't need to be CSAM-based content. Just imagine generating content about an individual that's completely false, and it's just used to make fun of them. You can essentially create victimization out of thin air, which is kind of crazy to say.
I'd love to know more about how deepfakes that we create just for like fun and entertainment purposes, what are the consequences that might come out of that kind of use of deepfakes in AI?
The consequences of something are always an afterthought. We think, haha, this is funny, I'm going to post it. So when you're making something that seems completely innocent, and then that can be manipulated and twisted in a way that is not so innocent, then that becomes a problem. It leads to potentially reputational damage. It leads to, the loss of trust in specific institutions, the government, education. Like, people are so focused, and not at deep end. Sorry, not trying to lead astray, but people are so caught up in this technology, and it's all over the place, that it's now being used as a scapegoat for, oh, I disagree with it, must be fake content or fake news or whatever, which is not good when we have legitimate sources of information legitimate sources that are coming up with, hey, like, here's an article about X, Y, and Z, or here's an article about this conflict somewhere around the world. And people are like, no, that's fake, that's propaganda, that's, they're just trying to scapegoat their way into having their point of view be right.
People feel much more entitled to just like film people and post them for content, no matter if they know that person or if that's just like a stranger that they're passing by. That sense of consent has really gone down a lot, kind of the public sense. And similarly, that kind of leads me into my next question for you around schools. So how can parents and also youth and students themselves kind of be aware of deepfakes in AI, protect themselves against these things, be aware when something is a deepfake or something is AI generated?
It's going to be a massive effort between the public sector, the private sector, and academia, parents and teachers, unfortunately, because there's children out there that don't have the best upbringing, so now the responsibility kind of falls on the teacher. So the reason I say parents and teachers need to step up is we're going to have frank and direct conversations about these technologies. It's impossible to eliminate all negative use of that technology. There's going to be problems, but we can minimize it. Teachers and parents are going to be a huge part of that, and having that conversation is going to be important. And we're going to have to kind of, weirdly enough, expedite critical thinking. I think our youth are going to be smarter, much smarter than us, because of the access to the information they have, but also how they're going to evaluate it, because they're not going to have a choice. So it's a two-sided blade here, where AI will accelerate learning and critical thinking, but also AI is the thing they need to be wary of. We need to be working together, collaborating to develop frameworks, policies, regulations, so that while teachers and parents are on one side educating and bringing up awareness, policymakers, these technology developers on one end meets in the middle of like, this is how we develop a safe usage of the technology.
Thank you for that. There's a lot to consider when it comes to how we look at AI. I agree. It's such a double-edged sword because there's so much bad that we know about, but there is so much that can be done well, or so many ways that AI can be really helpful to us. And I'd love to know some more about the ways that AI technology, deepfake technology can actually be used for good, and what it can do to support us in like living a better life in general.
There's going to be massive improvements in our life in terms of efficiency and how we do things. And I mean, I'm just going to go outright and say it, like politically, economically, medically, education-wise, huge shifts. We can't even possibly fathom. It's going to change a lot of things. But think of your day-to-day. And so many things that you do repetitively, mechanically, and like kind of very boring, but going through emails, or if you're working a job in like data entry, and it's stuff that can be, it's not very challenging from the mental aspect. Like it's just a very mechanical task. Well, AI is going to automate and take care of a lot of those mundane and boring and repetitive and mechanical tasks. It's going to free up so much time for us individuals, especially in the professional sphere, to be more creative, to be more productive in a meaningful way, to kind of address bigger issues without having to worry about that repetitiveness that takes away from our productive time. In terms of the educational sphere, massive improvements across the board, I think, because, and this is that almost conflicting statement of me saying we must keep technology out of our schools to, no, it's gonna help everything. Well, that's because, again, controlled environment, the educators, administrators are gonna be the ones that are gonna deploy, and obviously the IT people are gonna deploy this technology. But imagine a classroom where everyone has, access to a general, like I guess a centralized AI system, or it's a one-to-one assignment, and it's tailored to fit specific teaching criteria and parameters to best address an individual student's learning style, so that student that learns in maybe a visual way will have AI leverage that ability to make them learn in that aspect. We need to kind of step away from this one box fits all teaching style and leverage this technology to really empower students to be their best, their best selves in that learning environment, so that they can really maximize their learning and feel fulfilled.
It's really great to hear about all of those really interesting, positive applications of AI. I wanted to also just wrap up by asking you, what are some resources that folks can access if they are experiencing cyber violence through the use of deepfakes or AI or any kind of similar technologies?
There's actually a decent amount that are readily available. I'm thinking cybertip.ca, needhelpnow.ca. That's a great resource for deepfakes, and there's content out there that you want removed. And I get it. What's on the internet stays on the internet to an extent. If you're quick enough, you might be able to help at least reduce that. But yes, needhelpnow.ca is a great resource to try to maintain control that and remove illicit content. The Canadian Centre for Child Protection, that is a great resource. It also links to the previous ones I mentioned. It's like a nice hub of resources for youth protection. Project Arachnid is another project that is with the help of law enforcement and the industry as well, private sector. There's Kids in the Know is another great resource. Canadian Victim Services Directory. Sometimes just going on a federal government website with a directory of all these types of services is an easy way to just find something that's local. If child protection services are nearby or what have you. There's a lot of services we might not even think of that might be locally available, so that's a great place. And the RCMP has also a resource page relating to sextortion, and there's call and text 988 for mental health related inquiries, it's a free resource and an excellent one. And community resources like within your school, there are wonderful things being done by TIER, Victim Services Toronto, and local resources. It's there for you to use.
Thank you just so much for coming on and chatting with us about AI, deepfakes, all of this cool technology. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.